You're watching Escape Adulthood Live, your number one source for long-lasting, fast-acting, physician-approved adultitis relief.
On this week's show, we're talking about sock burning, have a conversation with the creator of Dwell Journals, and marvel at just how much can happen in a year.
Sock burning. Sock burning. Are we out of ideas? Or
Is this just the beginning?
Are we hitting our stride? That's
this is 20 years of marriage is when you start burning each other's socks.
Yeah, you're going to want to tune in later in the show about that. But it's been a good day. We're glad to have you with us.
Thank
those
you for
of you
shenanigans.
watching presently, although as I say that, I realize anyone watching me say that,
is in the
it's
present. They're not
even
watching
if you're in the future.
Yes.
Present.
We have some awesome spring. What was your question?
Something about what was the part about this season you're most looking forward to? Because we're officially in spring, allegedly.
It's getting kind of rainy here, which we actually enjoy. We love rainy days in our household, and of course, the green grass is starting to pop up. So, what do we have here in the comments? I see so many familiar
lilacs
names here tonight.
Lilacs, couple places, warmer breezes that blow my hair every which way.
Yes, put the windows down.
Me too. I feel that way too. It's so awesome.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Jennifer says she loves your shirt.
Oh, so okay,
that was a special buy just for
purchase.
Today.
Yes, and Paul referred to that. He asked if we had any donuts left. I did put up a post earlier. We were at this table 13 hours ago for Eastern Time Zone event. So by 6:45 a.m. here, we were sitting here getting ready for this amazing event. So yes, there were donuts. The whole theme was donuts.
We had a whole
sprinkles.
pile of donuts right here, and there's wafting.
Oh my gosh! Oh. We had like 8 donuts right here the whole time. I'm like, oh, I need to smell this. I need to eat it. But we did gobble down some donuts after as a nice reward.
But it was an awesome gig. It was for a children's museum in Raleigh, North Carolina. Worked with them in the past, and they are such a hoot.
They are such like shenanigators, you guys. They put together this intro video that was just hilarious. They like mimicked this whole morning talk show thing with like weather reports. And...
There was slow motion video of donuts hitting a guy's face. So if
it was
that's
like the
not
weather
worth getting
was
up early
raining
for,
donuts,
I don't
and
know
this
what
guy literally had donuts like hitting his face, and it was pretty well executed. So anyway, it was amazing.
So if you think maybe we could help you, if you have some sort of virtual event and you want to
throw
team
donuts
up
at someone's face,
we did some fun brainstorming with them to kind of put
cool.
together a cool event, and they took it and ran with it. So,
and here's an interesting note: we spent probably 3 to 4 hours like in different conference calls with their team leading up to this, and it was a half-hour event. So that tells you all the magic that happens behind the scenes. And they even had like goodie boxes that went out to all 350 attendees ahead of time with sprinkles and everything in it. It was cool.
Not unlike the mystery mailings that we sent to Wonder and Whimsy.
It did remind us of that.
Which just left the premises today.
Yes.
So they're going to be going out to you guys shortly. And we're excited about that. But what I'm really, really excited about is a special guest that we have tonight. And this is going to be part of our Adultitis Fighters Unite segment. All right, you guys, first of all, we've got a meme of the week. We always have a meme of the week, and the good old Obi-Wan referring to spring. Now, that's a season I haven't seen in a long time. And
I don't get this. I could have faked it.
See what I'm up against here, you guys?
I don't...
Classic New Hope. It's a line. They talk about his name. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Okay.
And he says, that's the name I haven't heard in a long time.
Okay, all right.
Does it
See?
sound familiar
it
now?
does now, but
You might be talking about old Ben Kenobi.
okay.
Lives out in the dunes. Yeah.
I was thinking too much about the spring part, so okay. Sorry, you guys.
Well,
sorry.
Thanks for ruining that bit,
this
Kim.
actually connects to something we were talking about earlier. Growing up in a family of all girls and growing up in a family of all boys. I was like 19 before I saw Star Wars, so I'm not as savvy to the Star Wars.
So much education to do, you guys. It was overwhelming.
I hadn't even seen E.T.
E.T., Indiana Jones, Star Wars.
We were too busy watching Parent Trap. I mean, come on.
Anywho, let me do this first. Jumping the gun. I really am excited to share our guest with us tonight is Michelle Fair. And Michelle is a wife, mom, and creator of Dwell Journal, yes. Which I came to know it because of a gift that I was given from someone who is on this watching us live.
You know who you are.
And we're thank you, Michelle, for being with us today. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
And tell us a little bit about where you're coming from, and I won't step on your question.
Well, first I wanted to show it. Here's a couple of these beautiful journals. There's some different styles and different versions of them.
Full, by the way.
Yeah, that one I filled, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But so Michelle, tell us a little bit about the Dwell Journal and how you came up with it, what it is, and what's the story behind it.
Sure. Well, first, thank you for having me. I really appreciate being here. So I'm going to just jump right in. The story behind Dwell Journals really resonates with the fact that I am a person who has always battled against anxiety. So long before there was a journal line, there was a human who just didn't know how to process my anxiety. And I was, I kind of explain it as I feel like anxiety to me always felt like it was just as core to my being as my blonde hair, right? Like it was just part of who I was. I didn't know there was an option to not have it. And so I just learned over the course of my life how to live with it as opposed to how to combat it. I was sharing with you guys a little bit earlier that I have two boys who are now 8 and 5. And about 3 years ago, I found myself really struggling with my anxiety. So being a mom did not reduce my anxiety at all. In fact, it made it quite a bit worse. They're incredible little humans, but now you're responsible for humans, right? Like that's a lot. And I hit a wall where I was literally in an active panic attack for a solid week. And I couldn't get out of it. Just elevated blood pressure and all the things that I experienced in an anxiety attack. I ended up in the ER thinking I was having a heart attack. Like that's the level of panic attack that I was in. And kind of at the same time as all of this was happening to me and trying to figure out how to manage my anxiety, I was also going to my church, and the pastor kept talking about how God speaks in chapter and verse. And that to me, I went, well, I don't know the chapter and verse, so I should probably start digging in. And so I started reading my Bible just obsessively, and I felt better every time I had it with me. And so I just kept reading and reading. And I came across this verse, Philippians 4:8, which, and this is totally the paraphrased version, but essentially, if you dwell in the things that are lovely, and the word lovely really stuck for me. There's other ones like praiseworthy and honorable, but lovely for some reason really stuck with me. If you dwell in the lovely, the God of peace will be with you. And so I started just kind of writing these lists of things that made me feel happy. And I found that when I was focused on the good things, I could not physically simultaneously be focused on the bad things. Like you can flop so fast back and forth between the two, but I challenge you to try and have a good thought and a bad thought at the same time, because you can't do it. And so that's sort of how I got into a space of even understanding gratitude and kind of digging into that. In terms of how the journals came about, I was toying with the idea, and I think we all, when you have an idea, like I need to share this with the world, but I don't really know how. And I still today feel very unqualified to be the one sharing it. You just have this hesitation because you don't feel like you're qualified enough to share the thing that you found. But I also found that there are so many people that are struggling with the same thing that I was struggling with, that I knew I needed to share it. And it was, again, in church one day, and I swear to you, the pastor was talking about using your gifts and how you're, going to use your gifts. And he's like, well, and you might go into ministry and you might do this and you might do that. And he looked dead in my eyes, I swear to you, and said, and you might start a business. And I was like, oh man, okay, well, I guess maybe I should give this thing a go. Me, I literally leaned over to my husband and I was like, did he just look at us? What is happening? So I did. I leaped. I share the journals. I'm the worst salesperson. It works in a plain notebook. You don't have to buy the journal. It works anyway. But the journals are a great tool. And instead of just writing lists, it sort of has evolved now into gratitude prompts and other verses that I find peace in is the version that's out now. So
that is very cool. So what was the thing when you started the business? You're like, okay, well, and I've seen you talk about that. Oh yeah, it's just a regular notebook. It's not a big deal. But there is different things about it. You're not just printing, journals that are in Walgreens here. These are really beautiful. And what when you started this, what was the important thing that was I want my journals to be focused on this, or I want this to be the special thing about them that's different than other ones? Why? You could have just bought journals. Why did you say I want to make one?
Yeah, because no other journal reminded you to dwell in the lovely. I could find a plain notebook that I could write in and I could practice that. But I wanted a journal in the original version, and I see you have one of them there that's just literally a lined notebook, right? Mm-hmm. But at the top, it tells you what you're supposed to dwell on. And so that's sort of where they started for me, was just going, I want a pretty book, a book that I would want to pick up, that fits in my bag and I can carry with me, because I found in the hardest, most anxious seasons of my life, having it with me was really powerful. And then I could open it up and read back through all the things that I had written down on a good day. And that helped me to find more good things. So it's evolved over time, because I feel like as I continue on my journey, I'm finding more things that can be so beneficial. And so trying to take those things and also squeeze them into the journal and pass on any nugget I can find about how to stay rooted in gratitude, because it really works. And I think that that's the thing that was sort of surprising to me at the beginning, is I just felt like I was an anxious person. Right? That's who I am as a human being, and I can't change that. And so there's this sort of I'm sure you have viewers that are yeah, but that's not going to work for me. Right? But it actually does. And so that's the thing that I kind of keep circling back to, is it really does work for everybody when you can stay kind of fixated on gratitude. I'd heard someone kind of define dwelling in the lovely one time, and they were explaining that if you're really good at worrying, you're actually really good at dwelling. You just haven't picked the right topic yet, because dwelling is the exact same thing as worrying, but you just picked a good topic to fixate and mull on, right? And so it's trying to just pick a different topic.
Mm-hmm. I love that. It reminds me of, sometimes I refer to the similar with imagination, as adults think they don't have an imagination like kids do, but I'm you do. You're just imagining all the worst case scenarios and living in a van down by the river, and you just need to switch it to good. And I love that. And I love you're saying when we were talking a little bit earlier about the idea that you always felt like the concept of choosing joy was something that only worked for people who are already automatically joyful. And I think that lines up really well with something we talk about a lot, which is seeing with new eyes and the choice to see the good in difficult situations and things like that. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because there's a lot of people that are going to watch this, and some of them could probably relate to the anxiety issues you have, but I know everyone can relate to the anxiety of the last year for sure.
Sure.
Talk about dwelling in the negative. So talk a little bit about that idea of choosing joy and how it's actually a choice. And you kind of alluded to it about it's for everyone if you want to.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, for me, it had never felt like a choice, right? I had not realized that I had an active part in deciding how my day went and how I approached my day. And I think for me, one of the easiest examples for me to kind of share how this works is, I had shared with you guys a little bit earlier, my son is 5, and this year he fell off a slide. Well, he ran down a slide at school and fell off at the bottom and broke his arm, both below and above his elbow. And I feel like 5 years ago, I would have been only able to see all of the awful of the process of going through that with him. And I was in this super important meeting at work when I got the phone call and I had to walk out and hope I didn't get fired, like all the things, right? Like it was a horrible day, like an absolutely horrible day. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. But I feel like because I had been in this habit of writing down all the good things every day on all the good days, when I had this really horrific day, I was able to see the way that the nurses treated us and the way that the principal walked us out to the car to make sure that he was like safely able to get into a car seat because he was so worried about him. And his kindergarten teacher called that night, so it's like all the things that were actually really good in that horrible day, right? And I'm sure that you have viewers that seems like a mild day, right? Like there are people who have tons of things that they're going through, but in every single day, I feel like there's something, even if it was the way someone reacted to you and supported you in that horrible day, that was actually really good. And if we can find those things, even if it's for just like a minute of our day, it starts to change the way that we process those tough experiences over time, right? Like it's a habit. And so you have to practice it. And it's a lot easier to practice on a day where the sun was shining, the birds were chirping, and everything went swimmingly, right?
Right. That's amazing.
Very cool. Yeah.
I'm sure there's like brain chemicals involved in all this and hormones. We're not, the science people behind this kind of stuff, but
if you watch the show regularly, you will agree with that.
But I do, you hear enough about what people say when even just laughter, right? How laughter changes your chemical makeup and how your brain, it changes your brain makeup and all this stuff. So I'm just picturing like, you kind of at the end of a day like that, by even just appreciating a few small things, how literally your body is changing, and the chemicals being released are different, and how that physically not only affects you, but then how much emotional, peace that brings, right?
And I feel like I can get out of it faster, right? Like when you have a bad day, like I still have panic attacks sometimes. Like that's not completely gone. But when I get into one, I feel like I at least have a tool that I know how to get out faster. Or if you have a really bad day, you can kind of shake off that gloominess a little bit faster because you've been practicing. And I'm sure there's some sort of like neuroscience that goes behind it, but I am also not that person. So I don't know what it is. So I'm not going to speak to it.
Right.
Jennifer Tackett is on here. She says dopamine.
She's a therapist.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
Thank you, Jennifer. We have
dopamine.
Science words alert.
Science words. We should have like a little buzzer or something when science.
Yeah.
Yes. Here's because I want to shift gears a little bit because I sense there might be people who also perhaps have something in the back of their head of like, oh, this could be a cool little business, or maybe I should do this, or like tell me a little bit about the process of like what has been your favorite part of starting a business and what has been your least favorite part of starting a business.
Yeah. For me, the most favorite part is the creativity. So, when you are running with an idea that you came up with and being able to have complete control over what that final product is going to be and how you want to connect with people and all of that. That's been super enjoyable for me. The least favorite part is like all the taxes and the operations, right? Just like actually running the business. It's good to have people, you know, who know how to do that stuff and can guide you and mentor you through all of that kind of part of it. Because I'm a creative at heart, so
I can relate to that. What advice would you have for someone who is thinking about starting some sort of a side hustle and who knows where it will lead to, but like it can be very overwhelming. So what advice would you have on the starting aspect of things?
It's never going to be the perfect time. So you should just do it anyway. And I think for me, just being okay that it's a side hustle. Like I have a full-time job during the day that I, you know, go and work at. And there's in a lot of spaces sort of a pressure to shift to it being your full-time job. And for me, it was important that I could accept the fact that this might just be a small thing that's on the side. It might grow into something and we'll just kind of see where it takes me and where it goes. But I think not putting too much pressure on it, because I didn't want it to be something, for me, I'm not sharing a tool that I created. And so it was really important to me, like I designed a journal, but I didn't make up how to make gratitude work for you, right? And so it's important to me that for this business, for me, it's not a business as much as it is something I'm trying to follow. And so figuring out what you're passionate about, and if you want it to be your full-time job and focusing in on that, but if you want it to be something that's supplementary and a side hustle, and that's okay too. And you won't know which one of that it's going to be until you leave. And that part I feel like is the scary part, right? Like you have to, at some point, you just have to like do it and see if it works.
Yeah, that's great advice, I think. And Michelle, like your attitude is so key of like holding loosely to the outcome. I know speaking for myself, that's when I get into the most trouble, is when I think things have to go a certain way or they have to achieve a certain level of success. And then I get all like bummed out. And then I have to open up my journal and write down all the things I'm grateful for and realize how far I've come and what good I'm doing in the world and all that kind of stuff. So being able to hold loosely to the outcome is such a great trait to have, because it also then keeps you open to the whispers and the Holy Spirit, like guiding you one way or the other. I mean, we've been at this for 20 years, and this is nothing like what I imagined at day one, but it's better. Yeah. Like that's the thing. Yeah. It's better than I imagined. But so that's awesome. I didn't have a question for that. I just wanted to applaud you because I'm jealous of that.
Is there a way to throw up people's comments onto the screen right now?
Yes.
Because there's so much. People are really sharing some cool comments, which I'm sure you can't see right now, Michelle. So it'd be kind of neat to share.
Sharon says, you experienced alchemy. You turned a difficulty into gold.
I love that.
That's awesome. Yeah, a lot of people are saying thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing this. Paul says more a service to others than a business. And yeah, the magic is realizing that sales can be important, but like every sale is a potential life changed, and
the value of all of it, right? And not the bottom line necessarily.
One of the things you'd said about like I didn't invent like the power of gratitude, right? But like one thing I've realized is like we don't say anything all that different.
There's nothing new under the sun for anyone.
But
really,
we come at it from our own filter, just like you're coming at it from your own lens. And the way you say something, I'm sure like the way you said something tonight impacted someone when it comes to gratitude and choosing your joy in a way they've never even considered before. And I think that's what we have to remember, is that we're all like messengers and we all say it in a different way.
Yeah.
I'm looking at
that's been by far the most rewarding part of the whole thing, is hearing stories back from people who are like, hey, I'm approaching things different in my life. Those, people who've been journaling for a while, and then they reach out to you and they tell you how it actually had a physical impact in their life. Like that is so rewarding to hear, that it's I'm not just on a little island going like, it works for me. Like it's actually working for them too. And I think that for me has been just helpful also just to keep the energy of moving forward, right? And just going, is this helpful? Are you guys getting benefit out of this too? Is this making sense to anybody else? And so
yeah, let's see. Lisa says our own voices can really be our biggest obstacle. So excited you are sharing your gifts. By the way, if anyone has a question, let us know. Put it in the comments, and we'll try to see if she'll. I didn't ask if Michelle would answer any questions. I think she will.
I'm an open book.
Kate says, "What a great conversation. Love this." Jen says, "Dwelling instead of worrying. Great to think about and switch the mindset."
That was a game changer for me because I'm like, well, I'm super good at worrying, and I was like, oh, wait, that means I'm good at this too. I just have to, because I know how to worry. Like I'm really good at that. Yep. Yes, you just need new topics, Rachel.
Yep.
That I've never heard that said, Michelle. That is such a gift to have that now. I mean, it really is one of those things of like, if you hear a pattern happening of like, I'm dwelling, but I need to shift what I'm thinking about. So what a simple, profound truth, right? Yeah.
Here's a good one from Christy. She says, finding the sunshine, like hearing that your mom is in the ICU from her doctor, Dr. Pepper.
We've heard this story before. I know how you just couldn't not smile when you heard the doctor's name was Dr. Pepper.
Hopefully she's out of the ICU.
It's one of those, like, sometimes you just gotta laugh, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Chrissy, you have a good sense of humor too. So
Mary Beth says, I have been looking for a journal like this recently. Thank you. Perfect. Well, there you go. TheDwellJournal.com is where you can get it.
That's awesome.
Kate says, Michelle, your honesty and approach, powerful and motivating.
Amen.
And Rachel and Kelsey are both talking up the kids' journals.
Ooh.
And Jennifer says, kids' journals. Yes, we really need this.
Well, and yeah, this is the one. Is this officially a kids' journal, Michelle, or is this?
These are the kids' journals.
Okay. Oh, it is different.
So they're like,
okay.
I guess I don't know how to like
come
back
here. Oh my gosh.
So they have, it's a daily journal for the kids.
The picture.
There we go. I'm going the wrong way. So
that was really
they're
cool.
little. Like I said, I've got two little guys, and for me, just going, how can I change the way that they approach this at a younger age, right? Like I don't want them to fall into my patterns and be in their 30s before they finally figure out how to do gratitude. And so if we can, so they do them in bed most nights, and they'll circle how they feel, and it's a great way for you to find out how they're feeling too. So they circle the frown face. You're like, okay, what's going on today?
That's awesome. I see a good question for Brenda. There's a good question for you.
Brenda says, I'm not very spiritual. Will this still make sense if I don't know verses? Good question.
Yes, I think it will. The version that I have now has a lot of scripture in it. So it has scripture on every single page. So if you don't want to see the scripture on every single page, then it's probably not a good fit for you. But you don't have to be religious for this to work. The act of gratitude and practicing gratitude and changing your mindset is powerful with or without understanding the scripture that's in the book. So
cool.
I wanted to share before we let you go. So this was the first one I ever got. This was Rachel sent this one to me, and this is a pretty basic line. It's got, like you said, the things to dwell on the top. And I started out, and I don't know if I did this wrong, but the way it turned out was pretty cool. So I started out. This was in April of last year, so right after everything went to heck. And
those are interesting journals to read.
Yeah, and so that was a big part of my dealing with all of it was to focus on the good, right? Well, then I heard before people talk about writing affirmations and the idea of thanking God for things before you actually get them, and like kind of doing that. So on May 14th, I started every single day writing 15 times a day. I, Jason Kotecki, will own a dream home on the lake. And I did this literally every day, 15 times a day for the entire rest of the year.
And let me tell you, from the wife's perspective, a lot of times it would be like midnight, and he's sitting on the edge of the bed, just writing, as if it was like being punished, you know?
Yeah, and then I had to get another one, and I kept it going 15 times a day. And on January 6th of this year, we moved into our dream house on the lake. So
amazing!
So thank you for that, Michelle. I really appreciate that.
I'm not sure if we can loosely tie that back or not, but you're welcome.
I think the Dwell Journal had a lot to do with that.
Well, and it was the intent of it.
It is. I mean, because it changed what you were thinking about right before bed. Think about this. All of the subconscious energy that you bring to your sleep. I mean, that alone.
Well, and there were times, and I'll talk about this later in the show, there were times where I didn't know if we'd have a business by the end of the year. So it felt really ridiculous. And that goes to what you said about you can't hold a positive thing and a negative thing at the same time. So it was like, as ridiculous as it felt some days to write that down, it helped. And it was like, I'm doing it anyway. And yeah, it was huge. And but part of it was because, this gift, this was given to me as a gift. And so I liked it. And I was like, okay, I need to, and I'm kind of romantic like that. I'm like, I need to use this special.
In a special
way. Because it's not just some random thing that was just whatever. So it was kind of like, once I started to get into it, I was like, I think I'm going to use this for this. That's what this is supposed to be. So anyway, do you have any other questions? I'm just going to check to see if anyone else
this has
has
been great, Michelle. We're so grateful. I know it's getting late there in Michigan, but we're so grateful for you to come on here and share your story and just the inspiration of following that, not only following something that worked for you to be able to share, but to have all the insights that you brought to us tonight was a gift. Thank you.
Yes, thank you
You're
for being
so
here.
welcome. Thank you for having me. I so appreciate it.
It has been a pleasure. Everybody check out the Dwell Journal. Get yourself on this gratitude thing. It does work. And thank you, Michelle. We appreciate you being with us tonight.
God bless. Wow. Oh, man, there's some truth bombs, man. I'm going to have to go journal about this.
I know, right?
I'll be right back.
Journal 15 things I learned today.
Seriously, that was really powerful.
Yeah, and we're getting the chat is blown up. People loved it. So happy that you could share your passion. Jody, this is a good one. Jody says, thanks a million.
Aww.
So, all right. Well, moving on to the next thing.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
All right, guys, there is 1 week left to win this big dog back here. And this is big. What is the size again?
Well, this is actually the one, I had to pull this down from our living room.
You did?
Like, this is ours.
This is from our house.
Yeah, because we already have the other one packed up, shipped, ready to go to you.
It just needs an address on it.
It just needs an address and a name to go with it. And all you have to do to win this 36 by 36 inch
36
canvas
by 36.
ready to hang.
Do you have a spot for this in your home? You know who I'm talking to. Is there a spot ready?
There better
be. Better make room. And how do you actually win
the other crap out of the way?
Take the picture of Grandma off the wall. No,
come on. The guy with the praying hands.
With the bread, everybody's got that one.
Picture. Everybody's got that one.
Yeah.
This is an updated version. So all you have to do, go to escapeadulthood.com/giveaway and enter your email for a chance to enter. What's even cooler about this is that you have multiple ways to increase your odds of winning. So if you, when you sign up, you will get a special link just for you. And if you share that and people sign up to our newsletter list, then you get 3 extra chances to win.
Somehow it all knows.
Yeah,
it's like a program. Yeah.
If you follow us on social media, on different channels, you get extra entries for that. So there is only about a week left. This contest ends at the end of March. So
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we have about a week to go. So get on it.
We're just trying to get our reach to the right people, you guys. So don't do the spammy thing, right? It doesn't do us any good to have people following and then unsubscribe one day later. We're just really wanting people to grab someone by the hand and say, hey, you might enjoy this. Come join us. have some fun with us, and it's not just about having fun, as you guys all know. We really do encourage each other in this tribe. So, so anyway, I hope you'll participate.
I saw some examples of people that were posting it online, and they did a neat little testimonial of like what they get out of this community and why they like the newsletter every week, and then invited people to sign up for it. So super cool. All right, so good luck. Hope you win.
Good luck.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
My wife celebrated a birthday last weekend. This year's edition wasn't nearly as monumental as last year's, which was the day after President Trump declared the COVID-19 pandemic a national emergency. Good times. The day before that day, I had the whole family in tow for a speech I gave at a fundraiser for a children's museum in Indiana. There were all kinds of whispers about this coronavirus thing. I was still trying to figure out if it had anything to do with that beer you drink with a lime. I remember specifically, we were told to wash our hands more often. I remember a local college was rumored to temporarily close for safety reasons. I remember shaking the hand of the fellow next to me at the luncheon and immediately wondering if I've committed some kind of unforgivable crime against humanity. It was the last hand I'd shake for the better part of a year. We spent part of Kim's birthday last year making the 5-hour drive home, during which we talked about how to respond. We were uncertain about what was ahead, and thanks to all of the doomsday scenarios we imagined, afraid for our future. In-person events were dropping like flies. In the worst-case prediction, I figured we could be bankrupt by November. But I was hopeful this would be behind us in a few months at the latest. I had no doubts we'd be able to go forward with the Escape Adulthood Summit in July. 2 weeks, they said. We can do 2 weeks, I thought. With our primary source of revenue up in the air for the foreseeable future, Kim and I went back to basics and asked one of the most important questions you can ask when the world as you know it begins to change. Back in the day, many of the railroad businesses went under when the world changed, in no small part because they believed they were in the railroad business. Had they realized they were in the transportation business or the shipping business, maybe they would have been willing to expand behind their current business model and survived. So Kim and I asked ourselves, what business are we really in? We determined we weren't really in the deliver in-person speaking presentations business. We were in the provide inspiration, entertainment, and encouragement business. In short, we were in the business of providing hope, and we realized that we were about to be more in demand than ever.
That's what I'm talking about.
Instead of figuring out how to make money, we decided to focus on how we could help. We turned my book into an ebook and gave it away. We created and offered free resources to our community and past clients. Then we turned on the camera and started shooting daily live videos we called Coffee with Kim and Jason. Every day, we made it a point to tinker, to try a new bit, experiment with some new software, or add a new piece of gear. Meanwhile, as the pandemic lingered beyond those 2 weeks, we repeatedly asked ourselves, what does this make possible? Me not being on the road as much allowed for more family time. We began praying a family rosary together and started going on daily walks. Those forays into nature kept my spirits up and my head on straight. And not eating out so much meant we actually lost a few pounds. Now, that's not to say we handled everything like a boss. The first few months were rough. Our revenue took a substantial hit. There were some sleepless nights, anxious days, and no small amount of concern about toilet paper. But, as it turned out, we didn't go bankrupt in November. Instead, that was the month we had our offer accepted to buy our dream house on Lake Michigan. Along the way, we developed an in-demand virtual program. We founded the Wonder and Whimsy Society. We hosted an online art show and ended up with our third best year ever. Nearly 2/3 of our revenue in 2020 came from initiatives that didn't exist in 2019. Now, on Kim's birthday last year, had I known what was really ahead, let's throw in some riots, mask mandates, and a contentious election season while we're at it, I would have died of fear, or at least would have ruined a pair of pants. Conversely, had you told me...
I did.
Have you told me that good things would come to pass, I would have thought either you were a naive rube or a liar of the cruelest kind. In a very real way, this is how all of life is, pandemic or no. We all face a series of terrible calamities and overwhelming challenges. But there will also be amazing blessings that blow our biggest dreams away. Look back at your own life and see if it isn't true. Were there tests you faced that would have scared you to death had you known about them years ahead of time? I'm guessing yes. And yet, you're still here, aren't you? Aren't there also awesome things in your life now that you never saw coming? Pretty cool, huh? We often underestimate the troubles ahead and underestimate the blessings that await us. Hopefully, I'll never have to face another global pandemic in this lifetime, but I can't help but look for lessons to learn for whenever we're in the midst of great turmoil. First of all, the ancient wisdom seems as relevant today as it ever has been. Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Plan for the future, but live one day at a time. You have what it takes to make it through today. But as our midwife was fond of saying, don't go looking for trouble. Secondly, when consumed and paralyzed with our own struggles and challenges, we should turn outward. Asking, how can I help, can work miracles. During times of great upheaval, ask yourself what business you're really in. And if you're not a business owner, it might look more like this. Why am I here? Who am I here to help? Next up, tinker. Try new things, conduct small experiments, see where they lead. Don't worry about the outcomes except for what you learn in the process. Those learnings add up. You'll be shocked at what you can accomplish in the course of a year. Finally, take a hike. Go for a walk, connect with nature. It boosts your endorphins, clears your heads, and reminds you of your place in the universe. These suggestions require a posture of being present-minded. They are also completely within your control, no matter how out of control you feel. Yep, a lot can happen in a year. Hard, scary, exhausting things for sure, but amazing, surprising, delightful things too. Don't let worries about tomorrow steal opportunities you have today.
Just seeing that picture of us on the carousel, I'm like looking for our masks that we pulled down. You know, I'm like, where are our masks in that photo? It just feels like 6 years ago, you know?
It does. It was quite a year, but that, you know, I've heard that a couple times in the different ways. Is that, you know, we overestimate what we should be able to get done in a day or a week, but we underestimate what we can accomplish in a year or a decade.
Yes.
And I think that's important to keep in mind, especially when you have one of those days where your day went sideways. Had a few of those recently, and I didn't get as much done as I should have gotten done. But I tell you, if I have one of those dwell journals and I write down the things that I have accomplished and I am grateful for, it's really amazing to see how far you can come in the course of a year.
Yes, for sure. All right,
you guys.
Is this
I've
where
got
the socks come in?
It may be. Let me read this headline and we'll see. Citizens burn their socks to celebrate the arrival of spring. I love this story so much. Well, I am not among the boating community, but the people who fish, who boat, who do things on the water are a very superstitious lot.
Yes,
it turns out.
we have heard this.
Remember
the bananas in the boat? Yeah.
Penguins Can't Fly, my book about rules. There was a chapter in there about bringing bananas in the boat. You shouldn't
bring bananas with you when you fish.
Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. Well, we talk about that. Well, here's another one. In Maryland, among the boating community, it is a tradition to wear socks only during the winter. Certainly for those who do their business with the sea, there is a tendency to adopt superstitions, but this also seems like a powerful ritual of optimism for warmer weather. After a particularly snowy winter in 1978, when you were born.
That's a good year, yeah.
Annapolitan, so from Annapolis, Maryland, Bob Tuner was anxious to shed his socks with the arrival of spring. He invited his colleagues to celebrate the end of winter by burning their socks after work, a symbolic goodbye to winter, as the group of boat builders, sailors, and watermen intended to forego wearing socks until the cold weather returned, and so a tradition was born.
Oh, I love that.
Tradition has come to be celebrated every year on the vernal equinox, the day signaling the beginning of spring, and more importantly, in Annapolis, boating season. Sock burning has caught fire. See what they did there.
Had to.
See what they did there across the country.
Heck yes, I did.
It is now celebrated from the Pacific Northwest to New England and even in landlocked areas of Pennsylvania. The annual sock burning events have become family-friendly parties and generally go with eating oysters and other seafood. Officially, they take a vow not to wear socks until next winter.
Interesting. So Hildy says it's true. I have been to a sock burning ceremony many years ago in a rural area in Wisconsin.
Wow, there you go.
How cool is this? Like, how big are these burnings? I mean, is this like Burning Man or something?
I think it's like Burning Man. It's burning sock.
It's like just flames.
Now, here's a little tip for you. If you're new to this, if you're excited, if you're like, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
Here's the tip: take your sock off first. All right.
Here's a
little pro tip.
I have a science question: is if you use a used sock, does it burn quicker? Isn't that your first question?
No.
Holy nightmare.
No, that wasn't my first, second, third, or 37th
I immediately
question.
thought that question. I'm like, does it burn quicker if it's used? I don't know. It just feels like it would.
Yeah, well, let's see. What Catherine's got some Red Sox in New Zealand for America's Yachting Cup is one of the items that won our first cup years ago. People still wear red socks when the cup is raced here.
Huh.
There you go.
Interesting.
There you go.
Socks and boats.
Interesting.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Okay, Hildy says, at a bar, it was tiny, but if you didn't bring socks, they had some available for you to burn.
Well, that's nice. Kind of like if you have masks, if you don't have a mask.
Right.
You got your socks. And,
what's the place by Kara and Paul that I'm thinking of that if you didn't wear a tie?
Oh, Pinnacle Peak?
Do they? I don't know if they give you a tie though.
No.
But yeah, they're gonna.
Yeah, that's the one. If you go wearing a tie, they will cut it off and hang it up by the rafters.
And the ceiling is just filled with ties. It's pretty cool.
Oh, so. Here's Al coming in. A bigger carbon.
Which one? Yeah, all right. Yeah, this is a good one.
Nice. That was a good one.
All right. I know we're going over tonight longer, guys, but I hope this is worth it. I mean, you got a good story to tell at your next socially distanced party.
and a new tradition to begin immediately. Just take your sock off. All right, can I get a shout out?
Ooh.
It's a new one. It's a new one. And finally.
Here's the dirt. Here's the dirt. It didn't work during a gig. So he bought a new one the next day.
That's how you rationalize it. That's
Luckily, we improvise.
That's what Chief Jason does. Yeah, we have a teleprompter that has a broken iPad screen that we keep around. So that tells you a little bit about how stingy I can be. But we're here. We're here to draw. That's what this is all about. Pull out your favorite drawing utensil, favorite thing to draw on. Even, I think some of the dwell journals could make for a good journal. Do little let's draw segment, a little bit of list of what your favorite things are from the day. Okay. All right. So here we go. Let's see. Hopefully this works. What we're going to start with here today is kind of like a backwards J. No, that's a real J. And a backwards J. Two kind of like loose J's, kind of like that. All right. And then I'm going to draw a shorter line here and a shorter line here. Okay.
There's a lot of talk of mask burning, which I think is very therapeutic for all of us to be talking about.
All right, now we're gonna connect these with a little bit of a loop. Not going to be a lot of mystery here tonight, you guys. I've got one thing on my mind, and it's socks. And you just kind of like put your connect them up there. Now the key with this is the little details we're going to add tonight. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw some parentheses of different sizes. All
Parentheses.
Yeah, that's parentheses, right?
Yeah.
And then
Or ankles.
Then we're gonna draw some
Like a
some
shins?
cursive W's,
Cursive.
kind of like all lopsided. And then we're just gonna connect those up and make some flames here.
Oh.
Right?
Oh, my head
Now
just
you
blew
see
up.
it, right? I'm just gonna draw some other little flame.
Those are the weirdest shin calf things I've ever seen. So yeah.
All right, now
I'm with you.
get this out of here. A little extra.
By the way, L. Hendricks tonight is using a mini golf pencil.
Sweet.
Those are so
tiny
fun. Why don't we use those?
All right, now this one I'm gonna draw the kind of like athletic socks that I used to wear when I was a kid, like the little
What was the
stripes.
brand of those? I know. I can picture.
And then here I'm gonna do these with like a little toe and heel.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then this guy is, we're gonna make a little face on him, of course.
Of course.
And this guy is freaking out.
Because he's on fire.
Yeah, as you might do.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy he's chill. And he's just going to be, no big deal. No big whoop. And then the rest, okay, so here's the other thing I wanted to show you. So this is a little extra bonus technique we're going to do tonight, and it's called cross hatching. And you've done this, probably, maybe you didn't know the name of it. So you do a series of lines parallel to one another, like that. And then you switch direction, except I'm not going to go as long. See how I kind of did that? There's like a little, and then I'm gonna do it again, but I'm gonna go up and down, and I'm gonna make those even shorter. And you gotta get like a feel of shading here, where it's darker and getting a little bit lighter, because it's charred, right, Kim?
Oh,
it's
that's
burning
legit.
up.
It's hot.
Like hot tub.
Elle says it looks like reindeer socks. It does look like
A little
the
bit,
part
right?
of the reindeer, yeah.
And then another thing that I will do a little detail is I like to draw little specks here, and this is sort of like the little char, the little ashes, burning embers, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna color them in.
So how is what's going on with the guy on the right that he's okay with burning up?
It's a
The
good
guy
question,
on the
Kim.
left, maybe this is a dwell journal user versus a non-dwell journal user,
Perhaps.
right?
Yeah.
How they're approaching their challenges, which appear to be similar,
Yep.
but maybe the guy on the right just realizes it's toasty and providing light.
Maybe he was cold.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, again, this is what I like about stuff like this is where the creativity can come in. So I'm picking different colors here.
Of course.
And of course you can pick whatever colors you want. You can put different stripes. You could put polka dots. When I thought of this idea, like drawing burning socks, I can't wait to put that on YouTube. Like, let's draw
Socks on
burning
fire.
socks.
Paul says, this is like my socks after a really hard workout.
Yeah, and sometimes that's the best thing to do is just burn them.
Hence why I said use socks would be more flammable. Now do you see? This makes sense. It's connecting. Paul is having the same thought. I mean, I'm just articulating it a little differently.
All right, little fire tip for drawing fire.
Oh yeah.
Is you can draw the lighter spots in the inside. So
Mike Shorter says those are toasty socks.
we got all the puns tonight, you guys. You guys
This is
are
really good.
right. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of darker
Steven has
red.
said like 10 puns, but I can't keep up. So
Alright. And then what I might do is I might do some cross hatching here with my color. Just to kind of
Just
give
'cause
it
your
a little
iPad's
bit
working?
of shading. Yeah.
he's getting crazy.
I'm just
now.
gonna be here all night, you guys.
I know.
So, all right,
We
so
will.
there's our
True story.
there's our socks on fire. Burning socks. Burning socks because yeah.
not?
Did you see that? That is my coolest thing about this is I have my
yeah.
pencil and then it just sticks to it and then it charges. like
Yeah, that's
sticks.
pretty rad.
Sticks.
He
right
showed the kids, and they were like, "Whoa!" As if he invented it.
I know.
Whoa,
I
that's
took
so
all
cool,
of the
Dad.
credit. Took all the credit for it. All right. Well, thank you guys for playing with us tonight. We have a little avalanche of drawings that are sent to us every week. If you drew some burning socks tonight, send them to KJ at escapeadulthood.com. We want to see them. A couple weeks ago, we drew a ice cream safety cone. And this was Kara with the Crayola crayons. I can smell
so
that
cute.
picture.
I know.
It's pretty great.
I know.
What else do we got?
So
and then
cute.
we did shamrocks last
This little
week, right?
family, Helen. Oh my gosh.
Little shamrock family by
a little
Helen.
monocle that we were talking about.
Does that one have a mask on? It looks like.
Oh, I think you're
or
right.
maybe is
or
it
it's yarn. Oh no,
knitting?
they're
It's
crocheting.
knitting. Yeah, it's crocheting, knitting,
Yep.
doing some sort of handicraft. Then Elle with her shamrocker.
I love
that.
The guitar, right?
Yep, that was pretty good. Makes me think of a ShamWow.
Oh yeah.
ShamWow.
Remember that guy on the commercial?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then we got the Shamrock Shimmy from Lisa.
The shake,
Thank you, Lisa.
The little movement there.
Little extra.
Love
I
it,
think we
Lisa.
talked about that too.
I know.
So thank you guys for sending those in. We got all kinds of different ones, but that would be the whole show if we showed everyone's drawings.
Here's what I would like. If you haven't sent one in yet, send it, and I will check my email before bed, and I want to see I want to see yours. And you're like, well, it's like, just take a
I'm
picture.
not very good. That's bull. That's bull
Take a
crap.
picture on your phone. KJ at escapeadulthood.com. Super easy. K for Kim. J for Jay. He goes to both of us, and we're not gonna put it on the. We're not gonna put it on our website.
Spam.
I mean, yeah.
I mark it spam right away. It sucks.
We just want to see what you're up to. So anyway, thank you for sending these on, you guys. These are great.
All right, this is it. We are getting to the end, but we still want to give something away. And in order to win, all you have to do is write something you're grateful for. We talked about gratitude today, and I was thinking about this. What's something you're grateful for as an adult that your inner child would never understand, right? And it's cool. We love being childlike, but there are cool things about being an adult that, like being able to drive and drink wine and things like that. So what is something you're grateful for as an adult your inner child would not understand? And if you are chosen as one of our winners, you will be sent this magical and comfortable,
very comfortable,
as our son says. It's got a very soft coating
so
on it.
Comfortable.
It's very.
And can I give a little hint for our Wonder Whimsy Society members? You, like we said at the top of the show, the envelopes are getting out in the mail in the next day. All right, they left the house today. And there are things in there that are also very comfortable, very, very comfortable. Mm-hmm. And that's all we're going to say, but it is hopefully something that you will take great delight in. So.
Yes, I hope
all right,
so
let's see what we got. Something you're grateful for as an adult that your inner child wouldn't understand.
Nap times.
Oh, right? They don't appreciate them.
So true.
Oh.
Having a clean living room to relax in. I know we try to... Every time we clean up, we try to
impossible,
kids,
Kelsey, right?
Isn't this wonderful? Wouldn't you like this to be this way all the time?
Don't you feel more at peace when the room is like this?
Not buying it. Not buying it. Helen, making my bill payments on time. Right?
Oh, yes.
Clean bathroom, says Jen.
Oh, yes.
Sleeping in.
Oh, yeah. They get up. Why did they get up? I don't know. Why did we get up when we were little?
I don't know.
Why?
Having a job. True.
Right?
True.
Yep.
Coffee from Michelle. Coffee.
No kid likes coffee.
Nope.
No.
Jennifer just says, this is tough and thought-provoking. You're welcome.
Probably because it's 9:45 where you're at, Jennifer.
How about this
late
early
tonight.
bedtime? That's going to be me tonight after this day we've had. Long day.
Right?
Early bedtime's good. Dryer sheets. That's a very specific but good one.
That is that is a really good one. Children have no appreciation.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, dryer sheets. Naps. What else we got? Jody says being married to Tom. Never ever wanted to do that as a kid. Tom specifically, or those boys have cooties.
Boys are gross. right? I know. That's why it's so confusing in those changing years, because you're like, boys are gross. Maybe not. I don't
Kate,
know.
affording others grace. Yep,
Ooh,
that's a
good,
good one.
Kate. I like
Taking
that.
a bath from Lisa.
Right? Bubbles.
Not sharing my food. Tammy, paying our bills and having money left over. There is a satisfaction about that, isn't there?
There is. Yep.
Kate, walking into a newly decorated space and feeling like, yes.
Yeah. Kids have no appreciation for that.
This might be the most non-kid appreciated thing, which is 401k pension.
As we just got done doing our taxes, right?
Good stuff, you guys. Good
this
stuff.
Is awesome. What about you? What was yours?
Helen, books without pictures.
Ooh,
yeah, who knew? Who knew?
Yeah.
Get that book. The first couple books, like,
where are the pictures?
Where's the pictures?
And then you just get used to it, and then then we find out that if you put pictures in books, which we tend to, people are like, you wrote a children's book, and we're like, no, we didn't. It's just we refuse to abide by the rule that only kids can get pictures in their books.
Absolutely.
Right? Right. All right. So last week's winner was Meg Liz. Congratulations to Meg. And we'll see who our winner is this week. It'll be exciting.
Yes, keep them coming in. We'll pick a winner right at the end of the show and announce it next week. Just a reminder, hope in the darkness. You can win this. This is true to life of the original. It's actually bigger than the original. The original is 20 by 20. This is 36 by 36. You could win this by going to escapeadulthood.com/giveaway and entering. I think that's about it. We went a little bit over tonight, but we had that great
Michelle
interview.
was amazing.
Loved having
And if you
everyone
haven't shared this, you can still share this. This is going to be reposted. I think that interview needs to get out there. There's so much anxiety still lingering and so much trauma that has happened this past year. So I hope that interview helps a lot of people.
Absolutely. Well, that is it for us. That's it for this show. Until next time, Adultitis Fighters.
Shine on, spread whimsy, and be awesome.